Let us begin with the real image of the screw gauge, and you can see that the parts of the screw gauge are neatly labeled. At first glance, the instrument might seem little complex. When we rotate the handle of the screw gauge, somehow it gives us some precise reading. We don't see any screw nut system here. Instead of going directly to the instrument, we will build it up step by step. Then we try to understand each and every part and its significance. Now start with the basic setup, that is nut and screw system. So here the nut is fixed, and when you rotate the screw, it moves both linearly as well as rotationally. And that is the core principle of the screw gauge. Now take the first part, that is the U-shaped frame. To the one arm of the frame, the nut is fixed permanently by means of welding, and the nut does not move, but the screw can move inside the nut. Now the nut is covered with the same kind of a metal piece so that you will not be able to see the nut here. To the other arm of the U-shaped frame, a cylindrical block is attached and which stays fixed, and this block is called anvil. And the extended part of the screw that is moving through the nut, that is called spindle. Now a cylinder is attached around the nut, and as the nut does not rotate, this cylinder also stays fixed. This cylinder is called sleeve cylinder, and on this cylinder a linear scale is marked. Usually it is in millimeters. Now another cylinder is attached over the sleeve cylinder, and this cylinder is attached to the head of the screw, and as the screw rotates, this cylinder will also rotate. On the surface of this cylinder is engraved with a circular scale, and this part is called the thimble. Now finally a small part is attached at the end of the thimble, and this part will help you for fixing the object between the anvil and spindle, and this part also prevents over tightening. Now if you look at the fully assembled figure with all parts added, you can clearly recognize the anvil, spindle, frame, sleeve, thimble and ratchet. Now if you go back to the image of the real screw gauge, it won't be confusing. Now you can understand how each and every part of the screw gauge, they are internally connected. Here in this image you can see that both the anvil and the spindle, they are in contact. Now if you rotate the ratchet, which rotates the thimble, which in turn rotates the screw, because of which the spindle moves back. A gap is created between the anvil and the spindle where we place the object to measure its dimensions, especially the wire, for which we measure the thickness, that is the diameter of the wire. So otherwise we can also measure the thickness of a thin sheet. Now let us understand the significance of each and every part one by one. We start with the U-shaped frame. So this is the body of the instrument, so it holds everything together. That means the anvil on the left side. On the right side, you can see the different parts like sleeve cylinder, thimble, ratchet, spindle. So all the parts are they are held together by the U-shaped frame. And one side is fixed, that is this anvil is fixed, so it does not move. And the other side, we have a spindle, the part of the screw, which moves back and forth when we rotate the thimble. The second part, that is the anvil. So we know that the anvil is the cylindrical object which is fixed to the one arm of the U-shaped frame. And the surface of the anvil can be taken as a reference surface, and from where the measurement starts. The third part is the spindle. So it is the extended part of the screw that is moving in a nut, which moves both forward and backward when we rotate the thimble. And what it does, it presses the object against the surface of the anvil. The next part is the sleeve. It is also called a barrel. It is a stationary part as it is fixed to the nut of the screw gauge, and it is marked with a linear scale which is usually in millimeters, and we take the main scale reading from this scale. This is also called pitch scale. And the next part is the thimble. So thimble is attached to the head of the screw. So therefore whenever the screw rotates, the thimble, that is the cylinder, which also rotates, and its surface is marked with circular scale. As you rotate the thimble, the spindle of the screw gauge, it moves back and forth. And the last part is the ratchet, a small knob that is attached at the end of the thimble. Because of the ratchet, the threads on the screw, they will not be damaged, because it prevents applying extra pressure on the object. So now with this, learning each and every part step by step and understanding its significance, we get the clear idea about the screw gauge.